Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome into a analysis video and first impressions of the newly announced, just last night as of time of recording this video, Monster Hunter Outlanders, the mobile game from Timmy Studios and Capcom themselves, that was actually announced back in 2022, and then we had complete radio silence after the announcement that it was being worked on. So I assume a lot of other people, just kind of thought that it was quietly cancelled and that we were never going to see anything about this game. So imagine my surprise when I wake up at 2:30 this morning, roll over to look at my phone, and see a notification from a friend of mine that just says, "Hey Grayson, the hell is this?" And so I incoherently watched the trailer and posted a couple reactions to that group, and then rolled over and went back to sleep with plans to dig deeper into it this morning. And in that time, we actually got a lot of information about the game that I'm going to be talking about. Like I said, I am going to be primarily focusing on the things that I am curious about from the trailer as well as from the website, things that I am excited for, things that seem really interesting, as well as my concerns for the game based on the fact that it is a mobile game and a Tencent game, and we'll get into that. I'm going to have the trailer kind of playing on a loop in the background, but I will stop and zero in on specific moments as they come up. And as I am a eternal optimist, I want to start off by talking about the things that I am excited for, the things that seem really interesting in this game. And the first thing that I want to talk about is this little guy right here. We have another new type of buddy. Not just one new type of buddy, mind you. We have the monkey, and we also have a bird. It is really cool that Monster Hunter games are starting to branch out from just the palicos, with them still being the bread and butter. With, Rise giving us the palamutes. In Wilds, we're going to have the sacred. And in this, we've got the monkey and the bird. And I was curious to see what kind of effects they would have, and while it doesn't show anything in the trailer itself, on the official Monster Hunter Outlanders Twitter, they posted a video showing that the bird, when you have it out, actually creates kind of a healing aura, it looks like, around itself and the hunters, meaning that the bird will probably fill a very support-focused role. Meanwhile, the Palico, which they also showed off on Twitter, is shown knocking out an Anjanath in the video that they clipped, meaning it'll probably be more attack-focused, which makes me think that the monkey is going to be defense-focused, and this is sort of shown a little bit in the key art that they shared, where we see the monkey sitting on what is very clearly a Kittenator from Monster Hunter Rise. So it almost has an engineer quality to it, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out, how those are used in-game. And if you were to ask me which one is my favorite currently, I have a tendency to gravitate towards support archetypes, Grayson the Bard and all that, but...
Monkey.
Yeah, monkey. From that clip with the bird as well, something that's interesting, it almost looks like the bird is being controlled by the player, which means Gaijin Hunter may get his wish and Prowler mode may come back in this game. Not a mainline game, but Prowler mode maybe? We might get to control the buddies instead of just having them be there. The next thing I want to take a look at is what I am tentatively dubbing Asura's Rathen. There is something funky going on with this Rathen, and I have a feeling that it is the flagship of the game. I think that there is something weird with it, because, and I'm going to kind of slow-mo the clip, when you first see the Rathen in the trailer walking out from behind a tree, you can see the back end of it is completely engulfed in flame, and it looks like it is glowing. And then when the Rathen's head pokes out, it has these glowing red cracks all along its face and its chest, and you can see those in the key art visual as well. Case in point as to why I am tentatively referring to it as Asura's Rathen. And I think that is a really interesting way to do a flagship for this mobile game, is have it be a new version of a very prominent returning monster. Normally, in games like this, the flagship monster is something unique, something designed by this new team. So I'm curious to see where they go with this weird new Rathen. Also on the Twitter today, they have shared a couple clips of it, and it seems to have a purple mode and an orange mode. I don't know what else to call them. We got a short clip of the Rathen fighting a longsword hunter, which showed off the purple mode, and then we see the orange mode in that footage with the bird buddy that I showed earlier. The next thing that I want to talk about from the trailer itself is the map and traversal that they've shown off. Now, this is obviously not like full-on gameplay. This is clearly very much like rendered to be showing off what they're aiming to do. But they have stated on their website and on their Twitter that the game is an open-world survival Monster Hunter game, which that combination of things is incredibly interesting in and of itself, and I'm curious to know how much of it is going to be an actual survival game, something like Ark or Pal World, and how much of that is just kind of a mistranslation by the dev team and the localization team. The open world nature we definitely see, though, as we see a hunter get catapulted into the sky and then calling a glider in, which I'm pretty sure I hear in the trailer, you hear like it squawk, so I'm pretty sure that glider is just a bird. I think that's just another type of buddy. And again, I know this is not actual in-game footage, I don't believe, but it does show the scope that they are looking to do with this map. And then while they are showing off the map, we see a lot of returning monsters, specifically from Monster Hunter World. We see Anjanath and Great Jagras, we see a glimpse of Tobi Kadachi, and we also see Geratodus. So they're clearly going to be pulling from a lot of Monster Hunter World monsters. They also showed off on Twitter a couple armor sets. We saw Legiana armor, we saw Paolumu, and we also saw what looked like the Lunastra Nergigante weapons from Monster Hunter World, which is really weird. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the roster at launch was just Monster Hunter World monsters and then whatever unique new creatures they have planned. I'm very curious to see what this is like. I immediately thought of something like Genshin Impact, like those Hoyoverse gacha games where you do a lot of like traveling around, running around to different parts of the map to complete objectives and, do a lot of grinding. I would not be surprised if this game was very similar to that, based on what they've told us and shown off so far. Okay, and then last thing I am very curious about and very interested in is the armor and weapon designs, because they've shown off a couple renders of what I believe, based on information from the website and from Twitter, are NPC Hunters who are going to be part of a gacha mechanic. They mention meeting hunters as you progress through the story, and they can become allies, and you can also control them. So I think they are going to be like a gacha game mechanic. I think you'll have your main hunter that you can craft gear for and upgrade yourself, but you'll also have like gacha hunters that you can, recruit, summon, and control them instead if you want to. But in those renders, we see completely unique designs for weapons. The Kuluyaku hunter, who we see in the trailer, I'm going to put up the render now, has really unique Kuluyaku dual blades rather than the slap-on design from Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Rise. And we see the same thing, I think, with the bow hunter that they show off, who I believe is using a different version of a Puke Puke bow, just based on the coloration and the feathers. And the last render we see is a hunter using, I think, a gun lance or a lance in what looks like a weird version of Baroth armor. It has the brown and the Baroth ridges, but it also has those floaty purple things. So I'm wondering if the NPC hunters that you summon in are going to have their own unique weapon and armor designs that you won't be able to change. And if that is the case, I really hope that our hunters who we are able to upgrade, hopefully, will be able to get those designs as well, because I think those are cool. I really like those Kuluyaku dual blades. Okay, we talked about the good, now let's get into the bad. Timmy Studios, that is working with Capcom on this game, is owned by Tencent, which is a Chinese gaming company that makes a lot of mobile games. It makes a lot of China-exclusive MMOs, and the biggest downside of this game, and the thing that I'm seeing a lot of people very nervous about for good reason, is Tencent is known to very predatorily monetize their games. They are very often free to play and free to download, but pay to win and pay to progress, which, for good reason, again, leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, myself included. I myself do not struggle with spending too much money on mobile games. I don't play a lot of mobile games, and when I do, I am almost exclusively free to play, except for like every now and then I will maybe buy like one thing if it's a game that I want to support. But mobile games can very easily exist to take advantage of whales, to take advantage of people who either are willing to spend insane amounts of money on a game in order to progress faster or to be stronger than other players, or in gacha games cases, people who may have gambling addictions and gambling problems, who are willing to risk spending their own money on the chance of getting a digital character that they like. And so the biggest thing I am nervous about with this game, and the thing that is honestly going to make or break it for me, is seeing how much those microtransactions, how much those in-game purchases are pushed. The thing that has me a little bit hopeful is the fact that they have confirmed that there are producers who have worked on the Monster Hunter series. Producers who have worked on Frontier and Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Now with Niantic, who are working on the game, and while I don't trust Tencent, I trust the Monster Hunter team to keep things in the spirit of Monster Hunter. So I'm hopeful that we're not going to see microtransactions in order to like buy weapons and armor. But when I was talking to friends about it this morning, I did have someone bring up the fact that like, well, there will probably be some kind of resource that you need to use in order to craft weapons and armor, that you can either grind a whole bunch from the world and it'll take forever, or you can buy it for conveniently in packs for $10.99 or $50.99. Of course, they will always be in weird numbers. That means you will always be just a little bit short after buying the resource before you're able to actually use it. And I think that's more likely, and if that is the case, I can still see the game being successful, but we'll have to see what that monetization looks like. And like I said, that's going to make or break the game for me, I think. That being said, Tencent being responsible for this game in a way is kind of a double-edged sword. It is obviously not great because of the monetization aspect and how predatory that could be, but also Tencent owns the rights to a lot of monsters that we would otherwise never see again from Monster Hunter Online. They were responsible for the second China-exclusive MMO, Monster Hunter Online, that, you know, dropped dead back in 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. And because they own the rights to those monsters that they designed for that game, they could not appear in a mainline Monster Hunter title, but we could see them again for their first Western appearance in Monster Hunter Outlanders. And that, I think, is something to keep an eye on, because there are a lot of really cool designs in Monster Hunter Online that would be neat to see again, like Tartaronus, the flying sand turtle elder dragon, or Caesar Bear, who I really love because he's just a big old beaver. There's potential here, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on this one, I think, pretty closely, because I'm interested, I'm hopeful, but I think the best way to phrase it is I am cautiously pessimistic. I'm expecting this game to be a microtransaction, pay-to-win disaster, but I am hopeful that I am proven wrong. But these have been my first impressions of Outlanders. What do y'all think? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you, like me, kind of straddling that line of excited and nervous? Let me know in the comments. I always love talking with people about what I talk about in these videos. There's usually stuff that I miss or stuff that I didn't think about that's, you know, always good to bring up. Please, if you notice something that I made a mistake on, call me on it. I am not too proud to admit to my mistakes. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. And until next time, I'll see you next time.